One of the most important responsibilities of a mother is to really love and nurture their children, to teach our children to pray as early as possible.
Pastor, author, and radio host DrAltheresa Howard has spent much of her life teaching others and her 3 children and 8 grandchildren about living a life for Christ, especially when it comes to prayer.
We have like a joke that, if mama prays, God gonna hear her.
DrAltheresa learned the power of prayer through personal experience. After she became a Christian at 19, she prayed for healing from a painful, lifelong skin condition.
The lepers came to Jesus and asked him if he would heal them, and he said, "I will be thy clean." And I started believing God for my healing, and God healed me.
From that moment on, DrAltheresa would approach everything in life with faith and prayer. She would need both when in January 2020, her 31-year-old daughter, Courtney, was diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma.
Immediately, we began to say, the devil is a liar. We're not accepting it. We went into prayer warrior mode.
Courtney was prescribed an aggressive chemotherapy regimen that would require a 7-day hospital stay every 3 weeks.
My mom always taught us that the power of life and death is in the power of your tongue, and I knew the second that I accepted it, that's what it was going to be.
It wasn't long before DrAltheresa's family would face another crisis. 2 days before Courtney would begin her first week of chemo, DrAltheresa's youngest daughter, Aisha, went into labor 4 months early.
When they were rushing me out of the room to go to surgery, my body's natural reaction was to cry. And so I just immediately had to cut the thought and just think on God's goodness and his promise to me.
He was 1 pound, 14 ounces. They did not expect him to make it through the night.
With 2 daughters and a grandson now in the same hospital, DrAltheresa and her husband Eddie called on family, friends, and the faithful at their church to pray. The baby named KD made it through the night, but would continue to fight for his life. Doctors warned that anything could go wrong, including complete organ failure. DrAltheresa led the charge in prayer.
Everything that they said could potentially go wrong, we would go into prayer about those things.
Aisha, who was still in the hospital recovering from her C-section, remembers one bright spot on the journey, the first time she held her baby.
Just being able to feel his warmth and, just touch his little fingers and toes, it was life-changing.
Meanwhile, DrAltheresa kept a faithful, unwavering vigil, walking the hospital halls between the rooms of her children, praying nonstop. She prayed by KD's incubator, and then would brighten Aisha's day with faith-filled reports on his progress. She often slept overnight in a chair in Courtney's room.
I vowed 2 things. 1, I was going to commit like never before to do what God needed me to do. And 2, I was going to do everything that I possibly could to help be able to bring the kingdom of the enemy down.
Finally, the family would see God answering their prayers. In the coming weeks, KD would continue to improve, gaining weight and passing rigorous tests. In late April, 4 months after his birth, KD went home, healthy and weighing almost 7 pounds.
He's coming home. He's home. It was a very, very joyous moment.
Then, just a few weeks later, Courtney finished chemotherapy and rang that victory bell reserved for those who complete all their treatments.
Being able to ring the bell and knowing that this chapter is done and never to be experienced again. I did actually cry that day.
Several weeks later, Courtney was officially declared cancer-free.
After the test that came back all clear, I'm officially done. And then I heard the Spirit of the Lord say, "It is finished."
The family says God answered yet another prayer. After being told she couldn't conceive after chemo, Courtney got pregnant and had a baby boy in October of that year.
It was God saying, look, here are the blessings, the double coming back from all that the enemy brought your way.
As Courtney and Aisha raise their own children, their hope is to carry on their mother's legacy, to be courageous women of unshakable faith who know the power of praying to a loving God.
Mom, I love you and I appreciate your selflessness and your love, and I'm grateful for the many lessons that you've taught. I'm grateful that you are the mom God chose for us.
My mom taught me to always have faith in God and believe that absolutely nothing was impossible.
We're sometimes standing in between whatever the enemy is wanting to do and those children. Our prayers can help bring our children through, so don't stop praying no matter what.